Hi guys, how's it going? Hope you're good. Today we're going to be doing a comparison between the Amazfit Bip S and the Honor Watch ES. These are two very good value, very cheap smartwatches that can track your health, your fitness. They are great value for money. They've both been released in the past year or so, and I think together they represent the best value smartwatches that can do all of those things. If you're looking for an alternative to the much more expensive Apple Watch, Samsung, Huawei watches, these are two very good watches to go for. But which one is best for you? Which one is the better option? I have been using both of these smartwatches for at least a couple of months each. They were both released in the past year. So if you're trying to choose between these two smartwatches, or you're just generally looking for a really good value, small, compact, easy to use smartwatch. So let's just have a quick look at the hardware specifications of both of these smartwatches. Starting with the Amazfit Bip S, it features a 1.28-inch color transflective display with a resolution of 176 by 176 pixels. The body is 42 millimeters by 35.3 millimeters by 11.4 millimeters. It weighs 31 grams and is made of a hardened plastic. For sensors, it features a heart rate monitor, an accelerometer, and a gyroscope. It also features internal GPS and Bluetooth. The watch is waterproof up to 5 meters, features a 200 mAh battery which can last up to 20 days. And it costs around about $60 to $70 depending on where you get it from, which is around about 50 to 60 pounds, again depending where you buy it from. So moving on to the Honor Band ES, it features a 1.64-inch AMOLED color display with a resolution of 280 by 456 pixels. It weighs 21 grams and features a hardened plastic body. For sensors, it features a heart rate monitor, an accelerometer, an SpO2 sensor, and a gyroscope. For connectivity, it only features Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. There is no internal GPS. The Honor Band is also waterproof to 5 meters and features a 120 mAh battery, which lasts between 7 and 10 days depending on how you use it. The Honor Band ES costs around about $120, again depending on where you get it from. Okay, so having looked at those specs, there are some differences there. I mean, it's not so easy to see which one is best just from looking at the hardware, but let's go into more detail about how these watches are used on a day-to-day basis, which one is actually more useful and which one has the better tracking, better design. So let's go into more detail about the design. Let's have a closer look at both of these smartwatches. Both the Bip S and the Honor Band ES are pretty similar when it comes to looks. Each is built with a hardened plastic, featuring a silicone watch strap that comes in the box. Both straps of both of these smartwatches can be replaced really easily. I don't particularly like silicone straps, but both of them have many options available to buy separately. The body of the Honor Band ES is thinner, it's slightly longer, it features a more edge-to-edge display. The Bip S is more of a classic square shaped, and I think it takes some inspiration from the Apple Watch. However, it is also a little bit thicker and the border around the screen is a lot more obvious. Both watches feature a single manual button for activating the screen and can also be used as a shortcut for a specific menu or tracking option. So when it comes to the overall design of both of these watches, I do tend to prefer the Honor Band ES. The body is slightly thinner, it's going to be more comfortable to wear. However, there really is not that much between the two. They do look very similar. They're both really comfortable to wear. I've worn them both all day while sleeping, and you know, the difference is going to be very minimal. The design is not going to be what differentiates these two watches. But moving on to have a closer look at the screen of both smartwatches. Each watch uses an entirely different technology in its screen, and they both have their pros and cons. The Bip S features a 1.2-inch transflective color display with a resolution of 176 by 176 pixels. Now, transflective displays are low power displays with a blue backlight. They're able to be always on, so the display is always displaying all of the information, and they can run for days and weeks at a time without running down the battery too much. They're also easy to see even in direct sunlight, so that's perfect for anyone who likes to track sports, who likes to be outside a lot, who wants to see all that information without having to worry about where the sun is or about having to strain to see anything on the screen. The downside of these transflective displays is that they do look slightly dated. They don't look particularly bright. There's limitations in the resolution. Colors are really dull. They don't display saturated, sharp images, so they do look a bit dated compared to the smartwatch and smartphone displays that we're used to. The Honor Watch ES features a AMOLED color display with a resolution of 280 by 456 pixels. AMOLED displays are more modern, they are more common in other smartwatches and smartphones. Your phone may feature an AMOLED display. The display is a lot brighter, a lot more colorful, the images are sharp, the icons are much sharper, the resolution is much higher than the Bip S, and overall it just looks like a more modern display. I also find the display of the Honor Band ES to be more responsive. Again, just similar to a smartphone, just swiping between menus seems a lot more smooth and a lot more responsive. The Honor Watch ES does have an always on mode. However, the downside of AMOLED displays is that they do use up a lot of power. So the always on display of the Honor ES is kind of a basic, very basic watch face. So it just displays the time and it isn't very bright. So, you know, the always on display is not comparable to that of the Bip S, which can feature all of the information that it usually displays all the time. I personally prefer the Honor Band ES display, the AMOLED display. I just prefer the bright screen. It's really easy to see all the icons. It's really easy to see all the data, the tracking data. It just looks better. It looks more modern. So let's move on to the tracking capabilities of both of these smartwatches. Both the Honor Band ES and the Bip S feature 24/7 heart rate tracking, as well as an accelerometer and a gyroscope for detecting movement. The accuracy of these sensors can vary. However, I've found both to be pretty accurate to measure your resting heart rate, and they both react when you're doing workouts, when you're doing exercise. I've tracked exercises with both of these smartwatches, and I can see when I'm doing something quite intensive, it does react to that pretty quickly. Which one is the most accurate? It really is hard to say. I think they both are pretty even. The only difference between them when it comes to tracking is that the Honor Band ES comes with an SpO2 tracker, which can track your blood oxygen level. So that is something new. That is something that the Bip S does not have. However, the usefulness of the SpO2 sensor is fairly limited, mostly because it can only do it manually, so it can only do it when you select it. It doesn't track it automatically all day, so that does limit the usefulness of that particular sensor. Now, the Bip S kind of makes up for that in some way by featuring internal GPS. Now, this allows you to use your smartwatch independently of your phone to track your location, speed, distance you travel. It can sync up with maps and show your route on a map, and you don't need to connect it to your phone, unlike the Honor Band ES, which requires you to take your phone with you if you want to have that GPS connectivity. So that does make the Bip S slightly more useful when it comes to outdoor sports tracking. It means you don't have to bring anything else with you, which is something that I prefer to do. However, the downside, unfortunately, with the Bip S is that the GPS is just not super accurate. It is only accurate to around about 5 or 10 meters, whereas other smartwatches, certainly more expensive smartwatches, can really pinpoint you up to about a meter. So the route that the Bip S tracks when I go cycling and running isn't exactly what it should be. It kind of looks like I'm running through buildings or running into a river or something, when obviously I am not. So we've talked about the health tracking capabilities, but what about kind of other smartwatch features that both of these might have? Now, these are smartwatches. They are, you know, as long as they can do more than tell the time, I consider it a smartwatch. But in the sense of the word, they are not full smartwatches. They are not the same as a expensive Apple Watch or a Samsung Watch or the more expensive Huawei watches, which have access to app stores and can expand their functionality. Basically, what you get in these watches is what you're stuck with. There's no way to expand it. However, they do some smartwatch-like things. So they can, they have weather apps. You can track the weather. They can control your music. They have calendars. The Honor Band ES also has 4 gigabytes of internal memory, which allows you to put your own music on the watch, so you can listen to them while offline without having to connect to anything else. Whereas the Bip S, you really need to still be connected to your phone to be able to control music. So if you're listening to Spotify, you'll be able to control that from the watch, but there's no way to put your own music on the watch itself. Now, I guess the final thing to consider is the software on both of these watches, and I think this is where the Honor Band ES really does pull way ahead of the Bip S. Mostly because it features more advanced workout software, including a digital personal trainer, which includes animations of dozens of different exercises. This allows you to basically use the watch as a kind of personal trainer. You can follow these pre-built exercises, and they're actually pretty useful. The animations are super clear, super easy to follow. You can do whole workouts just by looking at your watch. If you are struggling with home workouts, this is a perfect app for that. It literally has so many different home workouts, So this is something quite advanced for a smartwatch that is this cheap. I've never seen something like this in a smartwatch that is under, say, $200. I mean, I think this is pretty good value. Whereas the Bip S doesn't really have any of that. It does feature sports tracking modes. However, you don't get anything like this personal training. You don't get anything like these animations. So there are a few other things to consider, just a couple things. For a start, both of these are waterproof to 5 meters. You can take them swimming, you can wear them in the shower, and they're going to be fine. Also, both have very good battery lives. However, the Bip S does feature one of the best battery lives of any smartwatch that can do what this watch can do. It's up to 20 days, which is really impressive for a single charge, and that is mostly because of this low-powered display, which allows it to conserve a lot of power. So 20 days on a charge is so good, and it's really impressive. Having said that, the Honor Band ES is no slouch either. It features up to 7 to 10 days battery life on a single charge, which again is fine for me as long as it's more than like 3 or 4 days. I'm okay with that. 10 days battery for a watch that can do all of this and has such a bright, colorful, clear screen is pretty good. So guys, to summarize this comparison between the Honor Band ES and the Amazfit Bip S, it is a pretty clear winner. I do think the Honor Band ES takes it. I mean, this is the more expensive smartwatch, so you would expect it to be better, and it's the better choice. However, I think the difference between them is actually more than I expected. This is a much better choice, in my opinion. The only thing the Bip S has over the Honor Band is the internal GPS, and that doesn't even work that well, unfortunately. The Bip S is still a great choice if you are determined to spend under $100. This is $60 to $70. It's such a good value for what it can do. However, I think it is definitely worth spending a little bit more for the Honor Band if you do want a great value, small Apple Watch shaped smartwatch, but not having to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars or pounds or euros on something like that you're not going to use that much. So the Honor Band ES is my choice for the best value, small, low budget smartwatch for 2020 and probably deep into 2021 as well. So yeah, I hope that's been useful, guys. If you have any questions about either of these smartwatches, please let me know and I will get back to you. And if you want to see more, I've got plenty more videos coming up from different smartwatches. So yeah, I hope you found that useful. I will see you next time. Bye.